Hiya, boss. How can I be of service?
Compared to non-smokers, smokers have a 4.7 times greater chance of getting lung disease. You know that means it's more likely than getting asbestos poisoning?
The risk of death from lung cancer is actually much lower than what you think it is. In fact, it's tiny when compared to heart disease, strokes, and pneumonia. We're always surrounded by easy ways to die, you know. Some people even get randomly struck by lightning and die right there on the spot.
Then I reckon you also know that secondhand smokers have 1.3 times greater the risk compared to smokers?
Of course.
So you won't mind paying the damages when I die of lung disease? How about writing that in a contract for me? You got a pen, right? I promise to protect you from all the evil in our world. Well, that's stupid. By the way, what's your name?
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please, just call me York. That's what everyone calls me.
Is something wrong with you? Adults ain't supposed to act like that. I only asked for your name so I can write it on the contract. You should have been able to figure that out if you're a real FBI agent like you said. Come on, sign here. Right here on the paper.
Just as I thought, Zach. This contract paper, it's a Sang Rouge wrapper. Sang Rouge is here, too. This must mean that Sang Rouge is connected to the Lise Clarkson murder case somehow. This is a sprawling case that spread across the entire South. It's within our jurisdiction, Zach. We'll need to steal the right to investigate from the local authorities at once. By the way, miss, what's your name?
Patricia Woods. But I gotta write my name myself, or else it won't be a real signature.
Tell me, Patricia, does this town have a sheriff, or is it under the jurisdiction of the nearest city police?
Perfect timing. Well, go on and steal it if you want it. I was just thinking about how this is way out of my daddy's league.
Thank you for the information, Patricia. Okay, Zach, it's time to get to work. How should we seize control from the sheriff this time? Okay, Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the San Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand. And Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state, and then we never would have found it. In the end, it would have been shut up in that vast, desolate evidence vault along with all the other cases, marked by nothing but a first-degree murder tag, buried in a soggy grave at the bottom of a sea of data. That would have been its fate. Instead, it traveled from person to person until it finally fell right into our lap. Things always work out that way for us. We've traveled all over the United States trying to track down San Rouge. We can't let this chance pass us by, can we, Zach? We need to find some sort of clue before this southern sun melts it all away. So, what do you think of it? Yes, I'm talking about him. Boondock. Is the skeletal gentleman friend or foe? Or does he merely exist outside the realms of either? Still too early to tell. But it's clear that he'll be the key to uncovering this case's mysteries. That's what my soul tells me. By the way, Zach, Boondock feels very familiar to me. You might even say he reminds me of someone. Yes, I think I see the connection now. A cheerful, wise, yet also mysterious African-American who appeared in a variety of different films. My mind must be overlapping him with the skeletal gentleman. Do you remember his name? Ah, yes, that's it. Scatman Crothers. In 1980, he played Dick Halloran in The Shining. And in 1983, he was in The Twilight Zone. He played the man who invited all those elderly folks into a strange new world. I knew it, Zach. There's definitely a connection here, but he's a bit too old. Scatman's more of a sage character. Our skeletal gentleman is a little younger, isn't he? Yes. They have different body types, but what about Forrest Whitaker? He made his debut in 1982 in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Then he was in Platoon and The Color of Money, both released in 1986. Followed by Good Morning Vietnam in 1987. Oh, and he was in Bird in 1988. What an impressive filmography. Across the 80s, he transformed his rough, young image into a more cheerful, wiser one. That's why the 80s can also be described as the decade that built up Forrest Whitaker's career. I firmly believe that he'll win an Academy Award for Best Actor someday. Yes, I'm sure it's right around the corner. He'll most likely wait until the time is ripe. Maybe around next year, then he'll unleash his best performance yet. Zach, I could go on about famous actors forever, but we have a case to solve here. Let's table this discussion for now. Did you notice it yet? The streets in New Orleans were a mess. All busted up and undergoing maintenance. The city was built on a swamp, so the ground is soft. All it takes is some heavy rain to cave it all in. There were also a lot of places where large tree roots were pushing up parts of the asphalt and the sidewalk. Those bumps were dangerous even when we still had our car, remember? But this town is different. The streets are all paved so cleanly that we can skate along them without a care in the world. And there's hardly any trash or graffiti to be found anywhere. The Clarksons truly do control this place, for better or worse. It's a good example of how allowing certain people to rise to power can have positive effects as well. Also, don't you find that Southern people are remarkably friendly, even to total strangers? Both here and in New Orleans, I've been amazed at how cordial everyone is. Is it just the way things are down here? You certainly don't see that sort of thing in New York or D.C. They never stop to chit-chat, especially when ordering food. They only say what's necessary, without any decoration. A customer only makes eye contact with the waiter about once every 3 times they interact. But that's just how it is. Isn't that right, Zach? The human relationships here are as fluid as an inorganic mechanism running on the smoothest, purest oil there is. And it feels strangely comfortable. After spending time in New Orleans and coming here, I think I'm starting to like the Southern disposition. They even have their own breed of bizarre crimes. And besides, the New Orleans area is famous for its paranormal culture. I'm sure it'll entertain us somehow. It's still a bit of a ways off, but perhaps we can also do a little case study for our post-retirement plan. What, you still think it's too early for that? I wouldn't say so. It's never too early to be prepared. Come on, I know you're with me on this one, Zach. Hey, Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the San Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand, and Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state, and then we never would have found it. In the end, we would have been shut up in that vast, desolate evidence vault along with all the other cases, marked by nothing but a first-degree murder tag, buried in a soggy grave at the bottom of a sea of data. That would have been its fate. Instead, we traveled from person to person until it finally fell right into our lap. Things always work out that way for us. We've traveled all over the United States trying to track down San Rouge. Can't let this chance pass us by, can we, Zach? We need to find some sort of clue before this southern sun melts it all away.
Hey there. So, you're the fella from the FBI I've been hearing so much about. I'm Melvin. They call me the sheriff round here.
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan? But call me York if you can. That's what everyone calls me.
Huh? Well, all right. Mr. York. How's that sound?
Fine by me.
I'm sure you figured this out, but our town's a small one. Yeah, folks are already busy spreading gossip about how some FBI agents come to town. Now, I reckon you came from the city. What was it? D.C., L.A., or New York? Anywho, in the city, it's normal not to know who your neighbor is. Fella who moves in next to you could cook up a dozen folks in his backyard and no one would bat an eye. That's the city for you. Now, I never lived in one myself, but I visited them a few times, so I know what it's like. All pigs must die in the city of wolves. Yeah! Now, does that sound badass or what? I bet you'd... Hey! I know, CLG. I'm just trying to make a little small talk, that's all. Anywho, round these parts, everyone knows each other's name. So lots of folks get leery when they see an étranger like you, and since it's my duty to protect the town, I thought I'd stop by and say hello.
Zach, it looks like this sheriff is quite the happy-go-lucky type. A clear indication of just how peaceful this town is. Melvin, about the Lise Clarkson case.
I knew you were here for that case. Can't put one past the FBI. So they even got eyes on the smallest of towns like us, huh? Our world is filled with information, and it's all within their grasp. FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
The Lise Clarkson case is connected to a top-secret case that we've...
I know. If you're fixing to take the lead, then go right ahead. I'm just the humble sheriff of a tiny little town. My jobs are to stop my neighbors from beating the piss out of each other and listen to old folks complain. Honestly, this whole murder case has been weighing me down. So I'm gonna give you my full cooperation, Mr. Special Agent, sir.
Well, Zach, that was anticlimactic. I didn't even get to use my secret weapon. Melvin, there's a cold storage warehouse on the southern end of town, isn't there? I'd like to get permission to enter it.
Say what?
You want to see where the body's being kept, right?
Oh, I get it now. Lisa's body, yeah. Now, that's what I call a special agent. You already figured that much out. But, I'm not too sure that, going down there at this point is really gonna help much, you know?
Explain it yourself, Daddy.
That's incredible. I don't believe this. Amazing. Did you hear that, Zach? They put the body in a cold storage warehouse. This is fantastic. Insanely fantastic.
Really? Well, how about that? Well, all right then. I'll head on down to the warehouse ahead of you and make sure we get permission to search it.
Sounds good.
The management company only keeps the warehouse open during certain hours, so you'll have to come during those hours. I ain't looking to create any further disturbances. So be on time. Got it? Come on, let's roll, CLG.
I'm gonna walk home, Daddy. I still got another stop to make.
Oh, if you say so, sweetie. She's a real sharp one, as you can see, so I try to stay out of her way. Well, all right then, York. I'll see you at the warehouse.
Hey, you. You ain't secretly cutting kids up and sticking them into jars while you work as an FBI agent on the surface, are you? Or using your FBI connections to sell kids to child trafficking organizations?
I've arrested people who've done both, but I've never engaged in either of those activities myself. Of course, I have imagined doing such things in order to learn more about the psychology of the criminals I deal with.
It was just a joke. Why are you getting all serious? And don't tell me what you imagine. Or else I'll get scared of you for real. Hey, can I come with you?